What is up, sports fans? It is Super Bowl Sunday. I'm your host, Steve Rochelle, here on That Sports Podcast. As a little bit of rebranding here. Obviously, not going to be joined by my right hand man, my brother's on Mr. Luther Broughton, but I got the other big man here in Philadelphia, known as that Philly sports guy, Mr. Jamie P. How you feeling this morning, brother?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's definitely our pleasure. You know, we've already had you on the platform once. Definitely had to get you on the Brotherly Love Show. Unfortunately, that Luther's Luther's got some stuff to do running around. We know how the adult life goes, but I know Jamie's definitely not at home. Where are you at right now, brother?
Actually, I am at home. I'd love to say that this is my home, but if I took this screen down, it looks a lot messier.
No, I don't mind. I got all my fucking craziness behind me, dude.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, it definitely is, brother. But obviously, a lot going on, NFL wise, sport wise, a lot of stuff going on Philadelphia wise. I mean, we've been going through the ringer. Obviously, at the end of the Bay game, the Bagbirds came back. You definitely weren't happy with what was going on. They got you. They memed you up. You know, you were definitely not happy with what you saw there.
Right.
I definitely wouldn't have blamed you there. It was monumental. I mean, I literally, that's probably the biggest collapse of our lifetime, is it not?
Uh, yeah, I
I
would
mean,
say
we, I
so.
mean,
I
a
mean,
lot could
as
say,
far
we,
as
we could say
as
that
far as
that
watching it, the only thing I could compare it to was the Rich Kotite years. Yeah, where we went 7-2 and then lost the last 7 games in that season. It was that's the only thing I could compare it to. I guess
I,
older people could compare it to the
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 disappointing
'60
Philly
Phillies.
team. That's the only thing. But they didn't have like a run where they were like, oh my god, this team is fucking great, man. They're finding ways to win every other way, and then just completely fall apart. You'd see with some of those teams, you see some injuries where we're gonna hamper them. You'd like, oh well, they got that winning that they know how to win. They'll get past that, and it never happened after '08. It just that rotation they had, they should have won one more, and it just never happened.
Right. And it's a shame. It's you think about that one pitch that that Doc Holliday just he gave it and it went across. It wound up being a home run, and that was the end of it. It's just that one bad pitch, really. But ultimately, it's funny that I think about '08 because I was there when we won that World Series, and then going back in '09, and then thinking about it in 2010 when we got rid of Cliff Lee. Had we kept Cliff Lee in that rotation, it
I think
really
that
would
year
have
we could
been.
have did it. Yeah,
That would have been the year that we would have gone back. It'd have been our third year in a row going back there, and then in 2011, it was just like that. The four aces didn't quite pan out the way it should have. Kind of felt like the Braves, winning all
I still
them
felt the injuries
divisions.
at the end is what really did them in.
Yeah, ultimately, I think.
But then you look at this, you don't really have the injuries. You just like you seen the clip it's from some of the players. Britt Covey, a couple times this since the offseason has started has been quoted on some things. I mean, you really had to see the right, like a lot of people were sitting there saying, as I was arguing, like when you brought Brian Johnson in, you really had it like, oh, we were all happy. It was like, oh, someone has familiarity with Jalen. But sometimes you have that opposite effect where he's just like a yes man there, where he's not that guy that's gonna push Jalen to this. And he just felt like I think Brian felt like he had capital because Jalen was there, and he didn't coach the way he should have.
I agree. I think that Brian's been coaching him all his life. And what happens is that you start to get certain levels of comfortableness that transcend beyond the coach player relationship, and that's what occurred there. So you saw a little bit of a regression there where I I feel that the one thing that people are saying is like, is Jalen Hurts the guy? Are we going to have to get rid of him? I absolutely believe Jalen Hurts is the guy. I do believe that he needs new coaching. I feel that Brian was more of a father figure type of situation where it was, hey, yeah, you just got to do this a little better, and didn't really coach. It was more of a critique, and that's what the
I
difference.
mean, we all know Jalen critiques himself, but there's also another level to that. You know what I mean? You also have to have the feedback on the other end, like, hey, you got to clean this up. We got to straighten this out. Hey, what are you thinking here? What you there was a level of communication breakdown across the board, player and coach.
Right. And that's where I feel that next year, when you have different pieces in place, that's going to change a little bit.
And
That's
then
I,
let's start it off, man. The big man Vic is here now. What were your initial thoughts when it has, and how do you like how his coordinators are start his positional coaches are starting to come in, and what do you expect a different look from this defense with Vic at the helm?
we've been running the Vic defense here for 4 years now, and it's always been the carbon copy. Well, which isn't really a carbon copy, because I think last year that copy was the copy of the copy of the copy, where now we've got the original. So, and I feel that there were certain things that happened with Vic's defenses that did not happen last year. Even when we had Gannon, as frustrating as Gannon was, he understood that the wide nine made sense for us. Vic is a wide nine guy, even though he plays a 3-4 defense rather than the 4-3. It's going to, we had 72 sacks last year. Last year we only wind up with like 24 sacks. When you have a disparity of 50 sacks a year in the course of a year,
It's gonna
that's
take
a
a big
problem in the
difference.
coordinator. That's not a problem no longer with
Yeah,
the personnel.
we like to sit there and talk about, oh, they were terrible on third down. They were what they were really terrible at is getting the impact plays that we got in the year before and the year before that. The big sacks and the big situations, the big turnovers and the big situations. The only big turnover I can remember this year was Jalen Carter's fumble return.
Right. Well,
And
not only that, I mean, there was a couple
and
of
Darius Slay's pick to really kind of put a knife in the back of the Miami Dolphins. That's literally the only two turnovers I can think of when I think of this past season. We could sit there and name at least 10 from the prior year, at least.
right, and that was just scheming. I think the scheme was just really different. So I think Vic is going to bring it back to what works with Philadelphia. The biggest problem I have is that he has a real hard time spelling the word blitz too, and especially being a Jimmy Johnson fan, where it was blitz all the time. Same thing with like Buddy Ryan. We had such a ferocious defense that was always getting pressure on the quarterback. We haven't seen that in a long time, and that's what I hope that we can get back with him,
All you
because he
have
actually
some
he
some
yeah.
pieces already here. I think we're probably as good as gold with Fletch, and I think that's for the best. You need to let those kids in the middle sink or swim. Let's find out if they can play they can play. You know from week one to potential Super Bowl or not.
So I think Fletch. Yeah, we are not going to start the season with Fletch. I believe Fletch is going to be like Indomitian Sue.
What like Ndamukong Suh
Correct. He's going to
and
he's going to
Lindell
come
Joseph has done
with
the last
six
few
weeks
years?
with 6 weeks left in the season. He's going to re-sign with us. I don't think he wants to really quit. I think that he would go one more year. The hard part about Fletch is that he understands that it's the time is coming. The time is coming. He's almost out. But if you look at that playoff game, he was the only one on that defense that actually played. That playoff game, I felt like he was the one that was actually getting some pressure. He was the one that was real chippy, during that game. And it's like I felt that I feel like he's still got some left in the tank.
I
It's
do
going to
too, but I also
I
think
but I would prefer him.
his money wants and what we need to do moving forward are going to be two different things. And I think
I don't
either,
know about
I
that
mean,
either.
there's the rumor that just came out. He's like, I love to play next to Cam, talking about going to Pittsburgh.
Well, maybe.
I mean,
So,
it's something that's I mean, we anything that's said this week until we get to the end of the season is nonsense, anyways.
right.
But
And I think he'll be back. I really do. Because he wasn't expensive this past year, and
yeah,
he
no,
understands.
he
He
wasn't.
understands
He
the money.
wasn't. And I think we like to talk about getting younger and getting these other guys. Listen, if you could find a way to keep them there with moving these other guys up and getting them more snaps, let it happen. Don't be
Right.
upset about it. Let it happen. You can't displace productive guys that hold guys accountable, that are leaders. Like, those are things you can't put a price tag on.
Exactly. Yeah,
You
and
know,
I feel that he's, like I said, I've always felt that players like to stay 2 years too long. Last year, I he had a little bit of a down year, but actually played pretty well. So I feel like again that if he wanted to
he had a
play, he
damn
could
year
play
like
for 2 more
early in the
years.
year when Jalen Carter was absolutely monstering guys.
Right.
But when Jalen and Jordan, either were nicked up or weren't getting the reps, or were just weren't getting past their blocks, Fletch was solid for us this year.
Yes, he
So
was.
it's like it's one of those things where it's like the business side of it, but the other side of it's like, man, like he still looks like he has 2 more years left. It's
Exactly.
not like where what we said with Brandon Graham, like outside of a few sacks over last season, he's almost been non-existent. But if he's just a rotational guy, and he's almost going to be at league minimum, what's it going to hurt to keep BG around for another year?
Exactly. And I think that again, the wide nine helped him. He got 10 sacks the year before. What did he get? 2 this year? I think maybe 3.
Yeah.
So I think that Vic is going to really help out the defense, and I think that Vic isn't going anywhere else after this. I think that
Well, I
Vic is
mean,
here
from
until
from
he's
what
out of
what we
football.
heard as why he left and everything like that, he's like, he wanted to come home and things like that. Like, listen, I think it's going to be one of those situations that we had with like you were talking about the great Jimmy Johnson. He might die as an Eagle.
That's exactly it.
Like, I
That's
mean,
what I hope.
I
I
don't
hope
want to talk about anyone's passing or whatever, but I think he might be a lifer from here on out.
that would be great. And I like hopefully we can get good 8-10 years, and that the defense is that great that that we can keep him here for the next 8-10 years.
And now let's flip it to the other side. Is the other one was the guy that we were worried about taking the Dallas job about 2 years ago and really turning the Cowboys into an offensive threat. It's now going to be our offensive coordinator because San Diego couldn't keep him in the building because they wanted Jim Harbaugh.
I am reserved about Kellen Moore. Maybe because I do podcasts with a lot of Cowboys fans, and I know what their frustrations were. And let's face it, Eagles that went to the Cowboys and Cowboys that have come to the Eagles have not panned out ever. You know, the one person that may be different in that is Herschel Walker, and he had to go to the Vikings first. So ultimately, I'm not sure that this is all going to be sunshine and roses. Obviously, he's able to put points on the board that his offenses have worked, but I'm going to be reserved until I actually see it.
I don't blame you there. Like, there's a lot of moving pieces going on with the offense right now. If you ask me, it did not have an identity last year, and I mean, I think that's one thing we could sit there and say, we know Kellen Moore offenses, puts points on the board, etc. You have guys on the outside that can help you. That you have a dynamic quarterback. Our real question is what we're going to do with running back. Is Jason going to be back? The sounds of it look like he's trying to have, I guess, a revenge tour with us with the how the season turned out. Doesn't want to end. Not only a loss on his career, but last loss at home. Everything was ugly, and I just don't think he doesn't want that taste in his mouth. I do think as we were just talking about lifers, Jason Kelsey is gonna be a lifer. He's gonna find a way either into the front office or the coaching staff, and he's gonna be a part of this city for quite a while.
Well, I don't think he retires this year. I think that you're right that that taste in his mouth. He is ready to be a father. However, his kids are still a little too young yet to play sports and such. I think he will do some of that. I mean, obviously, he was asking or he had conversations with Fox and ESPN about becoming a broadcaster. Let's face it. If think about the last 2 years, if it wasn't for Jason Kelsey, uh, that he wouldn't have the number one podcast in the world right now. His brother wouldn't have a girlfriend. His family would never have been noticed, across the board. You know,
And
it, you know,
it all started about 6 years ago.
yeah, all because of Jason. All because of Jason, and that's kudos to him for being able to set up that kind of brand. I mean, the guy. Let's face it. I don't think there's any chance that he would be, sexiest man alive if he wasn't all of those other things. So, because he ain't that
He's
handsome.
America's dad right now. I don't care what anyone says. What we've seen over him over the past few years, for podcasts and all that stuff aside, you know the speech 6 years ago kind of put him on this path. He went from just being an offensive lineman on the Philadelphia Eagles to, hey, who's that guy?
Right.
And then Jason has taken everything and just turned it into gold.
I very rarely tell this story, but my brother's a big Eagles fan as well, and I wanted to buy him a jersey for Christmas one year. I'm talking about 10, 12 years ago. And I says, you know what? I think Kelsey is going to be the man. I want to get him a Kelsey jersey. And I went looking for a Kelsey jersey and you couldn't find them. I reached out to a bunch of different people. Finally, somebody reached back to me and they said, you know what? You may have a better chance emailing him directly and see if he will send you a jersey rather than going out and buying one. And then, of course, I found the China link where I was able to get a jersey made in China. And I still have the jersey because it was supposed to be a triple X. It came as a single X, and the letters started falling off. I still have the jersey though,
No,
but
I have some of them ones, and the funny part is I still have one, and they're not the same that they were, like, 5 6 years ago, where you wash it, a bunch of times and you can start seeing the everything starting to kind of fade off it. But now
yeah,
they actually really look like some of the real jerseys now.
and that's what it is. It's like, but 12 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, you couldn't get a Kelsey jersey. Now
Maybe possible.
it was one of the
You
best
were
selling
going
jerseys
to a
in the
custom
NFL.
shop with like a blank Eagles jersey and basically like, here, put 62 in Kelsey on this for me, please.
Yep. So, and I was one of the first ones to have that jersey. Yeah, so it was kind of funny how things have changed just over 6 years, and now you're right. He is America's dad. Him and Kylie both
I
are.
mean, dude, the stuff from him in Buffalo was absolutely great, man.
So, and that's
But
and
the best part of that was him putting the little girl in the box.
yeah,
That was
to
the.
talk to
I mean,
Taylor.
everything else. I mean, he was tailgating with Bill's Mafia. He was taking shots out of bowling balls. But the best part of that was him finding the little girl with the Taylor sign and damn near throwing her into the box. I mean,
Right.
like,
And that's fun. It's hey, you know what? I appreciate the fact because everybody says, "Oh, he's an Eagle. Why is he over there with Chief stuff on?" He's supporting his family. You know what I mean? I get that. There's no animosity that I have
if that's
towards
my
him.
brother sitting there doing that, I'm sitting there acting like a wild man too. That's what
Exactly.
my brother had, like, a little last minute Muay Thai fight, helping his local gym out how to fight the local fighter. My family was crazy in the front row. He was getting his ass kicked, but he dropped the dude once, and guess what? We were the loudest people in the freaking room.
Right.
You
And that's the
when your
fun part.
family's out there and you compete, you don't act normal.
Exactly. Exactly. And I've used that before. I've like, hey, listen,
And
if my
that's another
son.
thing I get upset about, like how NFL fans view family members and things. People being upset that Travis and Taylor, like, people are now rooting for Taylor not to make it to the Super Bowl. Like, what the frick is wrong with you people? Why? Because she's the biggest freaking recording music star in the world right now. When has that ever happened in the world? What, Marilyn and Joe is the only thing I can think of.
Right. Yeah.
And
And
guess what? They tried to tear them down too.
it's
It's just
jealousy.
who we are.
It's
Sometimes just
jealousy.
leave these people and let them have their fun. Like,
Exactly.
let
It's
them
all
be
jealousy.
people. Let them enjoy their, like. We've watched this happen so many times over the years. If you've been watching the celebrity world over the last 20, 30 years, you've seen it. We're watching a recurring thing.
E- Exactly. This is the Kelseys have become like the royal family, where they're just
Yeah,
everything
right.
that they do is going to get reported on. So it's every I got tired of hearing about the Queen and
Oh, and you see all kinds of stuff. You got the Kansas City Swifties now, right? You see all kinds of fun stuff. But I mean, it's fun, man. Let people have fun with it, you know?
exactly. I'm
Like,
a
yeah,
firm
we
believer
let
of
the
that.
Bears have fun with their Super Bowl shuffle in '85. Like, dude, let people have their thing.
And ultimately after the game is still going to take precedence. It's not the
Like, I don't care
Swifties. It's
if
not
they show us Taylor
Taylor.
Swift 202 times tonight. If that's what happens, that's what happens.
Exactly.
We're
I
not. If
concur.
you're so mad about it, don't get mad at them. Get mad at the freaking TV people who consistently pay it to them.
Right.
They're the ones with the script. They're the ones that control the TV. They're the ones that control the camera.
Well, I think
Not
about that when
Taylor,
the
not
when the Eagles were
Travis.
in there. How many times did we see Kevin Hart? How many times did we see Bradley Cooper? When the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, they panned to
Miles
them
Teller.
all the time.
Miles Teller.
Yeah, it
Like, we
was.
all have celebrities of our own city teams. Like, we all have fans, dude.
Yeah, I'm just upset about the fact that it's not the Eagles playing, and we would have wondered. You'd have seen Taylor wearing her boyfriends, and
Oh
then you
man,
see her dad wearing the Eagles
she would have
gear.
been like Mama Kelsey last year.
Exactly. It's so, and the dad wearing the Eagles gear. So,
I'm
I mean,
actually glad
ultimately,
so we didn't have to deal with like the crappy part of our fan base that we all have.
right, right. So, but I don't care. I agree. I let them have fun.
Yeah, man. And then speaking of which, we were talking about Jason. Did you see him and his doppelganger were together in Vegas?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh
And it's
man,
funny that
both of them
he's.
two in the same place is trouble.
And it's a shame that Bert didn't wear an underdog shirt. You
Man,
wouldn't have been
that would
able
have
to tell them the
been.
difference.
But they have been sitting there throwing a lot of hungover jokes because you have that one where Kelsey basically looks just like Zach Galifianakis from.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yes. That was perfect. So, and
It
you know
is,
what?
man.
He does that. I mean, that's what Jason does. He is able to. He could be that guy.
Yeah,
Where it's just funny. It's just funny to see him do it.
and also some cool stuff about the Super Bowl. Did you hear that Terry Kellers is now going to be in it? He was also a member of the Tennessee Titans that that were in there before it.
That missed it
We're
by the
having a
1 yard.
female ref at the Super Bowl. A lot of construction going on about our NFL officials, but there's some fun stuff going on about this year's Super Bowl, don't you think?
Yeah, I liked some of the storylines. I mean, you know, it, the game is the game, and ultimately, it's I really am not a fan of the 49ers fan base, so
I don't think
I'm
any
not
of us are at this point in time, and it's weird how it's developed over the last 2 years. Like, we did not care a rat's lick about them, uh, you know, 2 years ago, but it's just
right,
how their fan base acts and has act over that time period. It's like we don't even really like the only one they really dislike on the actual 49ers is Debo because he won't keep our name out of his mouth.
right.
But the 49er fan base is just this victimized, entitled freaking group that they are. I just can't. I don't know. My brother was a 49ers fan growing up, so it's like one of these fans like things that where I've had to dealt with it. But this is just a whole new level to it. I don't even get it.
I'm right there with you, and uh, if they win, they win because, like I said, I don't have any skin in this game. But who wants to hear them? Who wants to hear him? I hope that they lose, and it would be awesome if they get spanked, but I don't think it'll happen that
I
way.
don't think they'll get spanked. I mean, obviously, we're getting a rematch from a few years ago, so there's a little there's a little something to this game. I don't think it's gonna be like Casey's gonna truck all over them. It's
Right.
gonna be interesting to see how this game plays out.
I agree. And, like I said, I believe that they will wind up, I think it's going to be a close game. I got it. I got Kansas City winning, squeaking it out at the end. Like it's
Yeah,
going
I
to be
got them with
very
a sweet
close.
point too. I got a Magic Mahomes drive at the end. I think they're gonna win like 27-24, something like that.
Yeah, I got a 23-21. I got it under. I think it's going to be a
It's
really
all
defensive
around
game.
clean. I mean, I think Kelsey gets in. I think Christian McCaffrey gets in. I think Debo gets in. But I think what really this game's going to boil down to is if the magical story that is Mr. Irrelevant, if it continues to be magical, if he's able to slay the dragon, so to speak, and what the Kansas City Chiefs have done over the last 5-6 years or so. That
Yeah,
that's probably the most interesting story over the last few years, and as much as me and you would hate that right now, kind of would not hate to see Brock Purdy be able to do that.
that he's probably the only one that I don't mind. I mean, I don't mind Kittle either. Like, I think that he's kind of like a fun guy. Like, I think that you would
He
be
reminds me of like
somebody
another Jeremy Shockey, just less flamboyantly outspoken.
less asshole, less
That's
asshole.
what I was trying to say, being nicely.
You know what I mean? And I agree. I agree. I feel like that he would be cool to go have a beer with. Like
Hmm.
that's who I'd like. That's kind of what I like about some athletes. I don't like athletes when they're too full of themselves, and I think he gets it.
Yeah,
He's playing a kid's game and he enjoys it, and he's very competitive, and but he would be awesome to have a beer with.
yeah, I do. Christian McCaffrey's another one, just because lineage, man. Lineage alone, just he's a fun guy to watch.
Yeah, I don't know about
It's
that. I
hard,
think he's a
man.
whiner. I think he's a
A
whiner.
little bit. He does fall into the whiner culture, but he
Yeah,
ain't that
yeah, I'm
fucking
not a
good
Keith Sweat guy. Don't be crying, trying to get it. You know what I mean? That's what I look at him as. He's like the Keith Sweat of the NFL, whining and crying. Oh, let me have my mom call up or write in that I can't, that it's too expensive to get a suite. Get out of here. You got plenty of money, CMC. Go buy the suite.
stuff. Yeah, right. Didn't Travis just to tell us all about the same story last? Travis and Jason told us the same story last year, right? How
Well, it
much
was
it
like
cost
50.
to send
It
his
was
whole
50
family there and
grand
all that.
because the daughter wanted to go. He's like, I'm going to the Super Bowl with the baby. It's like, I guess you got to take her to the Super Bowl now. You're going to pay 50 grand, and they got the
He's
money.
like, hey,
They got the money.
50 grand for something she's never gonna remember outside of
Exactly.
pictures and videos.
Well, and the, of course, it was a great uh, documentary. So that documentary is going to play on forever in
Man,
her life.
it's kind of the reason why I kind of felt just some of the stuff that Kylie was saying to Jason that it was going to be this year, but how it ended up just Jason is going to have the veto this year.
Yeah. Fast forward about 15, 20 years from now, they're going to be those girls are going to be the Kardashians.
Well,
No
don't
doubt
say
in my
that.
mind. No doubt in my mind. I mean, I like whatever
I know
15 or
what you
20
mean. Like
years.
they're the people we're going to be focusing on, like the celebrities of the world. Let's
Correct.
just hope they're not the Kardashians, because
I agree.
here we go. Kim's is starting to date OBJ now. I'm like, oh great, here we go.
Well, that's why they lost.
The Kim curse. That's right. But um, what are you going to be expecting for this team moving forward? Obviously, Lane didn't get Walter Payton Man of the Year, which kind of expected. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And Jalen Carter surprisingly was pretty much the front runner all year. Had probably the stats to do it. I just don't think they're ever going to give us one of these things, man. He was going to. Jalen was basically going to be, one of the first Eagles to hit that offensive
Defensive rookie of the
defensive
year.
rookie of the year. Man, I just don't think it's ever going to happen for an Eagle. Just
Who
this
did
year.
win it? I didn't even see who won it. I saw he came in second, but who was it that won the defensive rookie of the year? Do you know?
But what do you think if you're you put on your Howie Roseman cap? What are you doing to help get this team back to where we were this time last year?
Get a middle linebacker who can actually call the defense and actually be worthwhile. N'Kobe Dean was serviceable, but he was just too small, was always hurt. You need that to start off. I think that if Kellen Moore is Kellen Moore and can do the things that he does best, this team is going to be back in the Super Bowl next year. I think that this was a down year. I think that something happened in that locker room that was too much for us. But ultimately, now they got it resolved. They're going to be back in the fold again next year. Everybody's going to be on the same page, and I think we're going to run roughshod over everybody next year. I think next year
I
could
think you're
turn
going to
out
see
to
a
be a
bunch of
14
pissed
and 3.
off Eagles, and it's not going to be fun for everybody.
I agree. I agree.
I
I
do
think
love the
it's
fact that we kicked things off in Brazil, man.
it's at first I wasn't sure about it, but I kind of like that. I do kind of like that because
I mean, it's
I
the start of the year. If you're going to do that to me at any time, do it early.
yeah,
Because
I
you got to
especially
think they
since you have 2 weeks to get
basically
prepared.
you barely broke it from camp. You know what I mean?
Right.
The
And
only
I
thing I don't like is you stole a home game from us. That's the only thing I don't like about it.
well, and I don't mind that as long as they take care of us throughout the rest of the schedule. I think by having that home game, that first home game, I think we're going to wind up 2 weeks on the road afterwards. And that would mean that the last 15 weeks, we're going to have 8 home games, including the bye. But so you're going to have out of 14 games, 8 home games. And I like that idea. So we're going to start off. We're going to be our first home game in the link may not be until Monday Night Football, week 4.
Crazy thought to think of.
Imagine how crazy that would be. How being 3-0 coming in to play the Cowboys on Monday Night Football for our actual home opener.
I don't
That would
know. I'm
be
hearing
an
rumors that might
electric
be
night.
Dallas for that first game, but
No chance. No
I
chance.
still think it's going to be Pittsburgh.
I don't think it's going to be Pittsburgh either. I think that they like that Pennsylvania rivalry, and they want it in Pennsylvania for that. I think it's either going to be the Packers or it's going to be Deshaun Watson and the Browns.
Yeah, yeah, we got a lot of familiarity there. They're one of the teams we do splits with during mini camps and everything like that. So
Well,
there's a
and their
lot of
defensive
familiarity there.
coordinator helped us win a Super Bowl, and so there's a lot of storylines there. You have Deshaun Watson versus Jalen Hurts. They're both kind of mobile quarterbacks. Just a lot of different things that would go in the middle of that. The only other team that really kind of falls into the category of somebody that we could do could be the Packers, or it could be Atlanta. And the Packers also is maybe a sell because of Jordan Love versus Jalen Hurts.
All right, last one. You're way too early. Must have player from this upcoming draft is.
Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
I'm on the same boat with you, brother. I'm on the same boat. I'm hearing a lot of people say he won't be our first round draft pick and he will be gone by our second. Do not doubt Howie Roseman.
I it depends on how much say Vic has. If he if Vic wants the quarterback of the defense, that would be who we would get.
I mean, it's who what I would like to see. It has a lot of great storylines behind it. Philly, let alone Jeremiah would probably lose his mind that his son is able to kind of fulfill the shoes. And if that happens, he absolutely has to wear 54.
Exactly, exactly. But
And then
I think it would
we
be
get,
automatic.
we get a lot of feel good stories, but I still think you're right. He's probably one of the guys yeah, I would think that the first pick would probably be cornerback.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
know,
as much as I love Slay and everything like that, and Ringo looked good, and Ricks looked like he has potential. I still think they want one, and I think that either Darius and or Bradbury could possibly be traded before we that we see the field this year.
maybe. I don't know about traded. I mean, I think Slay may be cut. You know what I mean? They may have to like
I would
cut him
tough, dude. I
for
mean,
cap.
he's outside of him having a down year and things of that nature, the injury and everything like that. He's one of the energies that him, his wife, his family bring to the fan base. Outside of it is something you don't see so often.
No, and I agree with that, but you can't always just go with
I know it's one of
the
those things it's gonna be a business decision. He made a business decision last year that he wanted a bigger contract. Well, now it might cost you staying here longer.
right. And to be honest, I'm a firm believer on first round guys. Yeah, like unless you're getting something very, very specific, which would be Jeremiah Trotter Jr., you go with big guys that are fast, offensive and defensive linemen, because that's in the trenches is where you win championships. Everybody else is second and third round stuff.
And then that's the other side of it. Are which one do you think is going to take Jason Kelsey jobs next year? Is it going to be Cam or is it going to be Landon?
It's got to be Cam. Cam's too small to be playing guard. And Landon is too versatile. So you want Landon on the line. Cam
Hmm.
Jurgens is going to be the one that's going to wind up taking Kelsey's job.
So you go look for that right guard now.
I think you have to get that in free agency. You know, it's so funny that like I was not a big fan of Sayamalu. I thought that he was always the weakest link in our offensive line, but he was missed a little bit this year. He really was,
He had a pretty
and
good year in Pittsburgh this past year.
yeah, and I think that's that being said, I think you need another guard, but I think that I would get him in free agency. I don't know that I would get him in the draft because they like to hold off their. They don't want rookies on the offensive line. They just
No, they
don't.
don't. They they do like to groom them. Obviously, the absolute golden nugget you find in Jordan Mailata can't replace that. You get him to throw away there at the end of the sixth round, and he's arguably the second best left tackle in football the last 2 years.
Yeah, but he also spent 3 years in Stoutland University, eat, drinking, and crapping tackle, offensive tackle. So, and literally, that's what he did. So when you learn something for 3 years and that's all you do, you better become good at it. You know what I mean? So, and that's what he did. He's big enough. He's a beast, and he's a great guy. And ultimately, he's that's why he's one of the best tackles in the league.
Swift stays, or do we get another running back?
I think they re-sign him. It depends on money. Obviously, money is going to be a big
I
deal.
know,
Um,
and he's going to be looking at similar money to what Miles wanted last year.
yeah.
So
Well, if he wants that type of money, he's not going to be here.
uh,
I
he
think
made it
that
sound like it was what's best for his family. That's what he made it sound like.
yeah, what's best for his family is for him to stay in Philadelphia too. So that's the money is going to really. Yeah, I don't know that he's going to get that type of money. I mean,
I
I
think
hear
he's gonna. The Eagles are gonna do exactly what they did to CJ. Go check the mark and come back to us.
right. And there's Saquon that's out there. I mean,
Saquon, you
obviously,
got King Henry that's out there. There's gonna be so many different options. So if you're gonna go signing a running back, not trading like what he's done the last few years of bringing guys in. Which, by the way, I don't know why we wasted Penny last year. That was a complete bum for me. But whatever. Here's the thing: like we're talking about with Kellen Moore, all this stuff has to play into it. Who's going to be used the best in Kellen Moore's offense what we've already have here? Is it going to be a DeAndre Swift? Is it going to be a Saquon Barkley? Is it going to be a Derrick Henry, or is it going to be someone else? We don't know that yet. It's kind of what the one real question, the only real question mark we have on this offense, outside of the coaching staff, is who's going to be the running back. We know who's going to be everyone else. I think the only real question is, do you sign Zacchaeus as that your slot guy, special teams guy? Say, Jamie already says, get that guy out of here. We don't need him.
I don't know that you get him out of here, but he's just not fast enough. I was the same thing with, uh, oh my God,
Is Quez coming back?
Quez Watkins. He was the fastest guy on the team and just couldn't catch the ball. So it's like you need somebody with the speed and some hands, and they don't have that. So
I see. I still wouldn't
I
be
want an
surprised to
absolute
see him from the
burner.
first 3 rounds going to get a slot guy and what for the wide receiver that really makes this team something crazy to deal with,
That's going to
especially
be the
if you're
guy that's
going
going to be
to
close to
sign
him.
the running back.
That's going to be a guy who elevates in at the combines. Somebody who, when they see his speed, and he's like a four
And
three
don't be
40 guy.
surprised if the tight end with in one of those earlier rounds that they have multiple picks in too.
Right? Yeah, I don't know about tight end. I think that I
Well,
think Zach Ertz comes back.
Grant and Jack are up for re-signing. I think you get Jack back, but do you let Grant go and try to find another guy like him through the draft, like you did with when you got a Dallas Goddard, things of that nature.
Jackson always was hurt, and it's a shame because he's actually a beast too. Like it's a
Yeah,
shame he can't get
I
on the
love
field.
his blocking. I do.
Yeah, and he's got some good hands. He just
Yeah,
can't get on the
and he
field.
showed that when Dallas has been hurt the last 2 years.
Yeah, so it's been a shame. I'm hoping that he can put it all together this year. And get on the field because I think that he could really be a great second option. I think they bring Ertz back for this year. I think he does a swan song with us for his last year
That would be
before he
cool.
retires.
That would be cool. Have Zach come back as a dual. See, that's when the what that when Kellen Moore could really have some problems because you could put Ertz in a slot, spread everything out. Depending if you're gonna bring in a guy like Swift or a Barkley type running back who can catch balls out of the backfield and make guys miss in the open field. This offense could be really fun to watch next year. I hope they nail everything down. I think that we're gonna have a revenge tour. Obviously, we'll see what the schedule shakes out, who, what, where, and when. But I think Eagles fans will be pleasantly surprised. I mean, obviously, our expectations are always through the roof. You can never please us when it comes down to it.
Exactly. And
So
ultimately I think that right after the Super Bowl, I'm going to go place my bet for the Eagles to make it to the Super Bowl.
get it in. And you speaking of bets, are you in this camp that betting is changing sports, or is it just another thing for fans to engage with?
It's just a it's just a way for rich people to get richer. And it's just I don't think it changes sports. I think that it's it engages certain people in certain ways. You always hear about the guy who's a $20 parlay that pays him now $100,000 because he had the most
Yeah, you
ridiculous.
got a guy, basically change his life for the next 3-4 months just because of
He got lucky because he got
John
lucky.
Jones doing this or this person doing that.
So I wish them all the best, but I think truth of the matter is that it's just a way for the rich to get richer. That's why I don't really gamble very much.
Dude, never. I'd be terrible.
Yeah,
I know.
I learned a long time ago that I'm bad at it.
Yes, yeah. I'm with you there. Yeah, no, I'm bad. I'm terrible. If someone's like, I'll give you like no, don't even bother starting. No.
But yeah, like I said, it's I'd rather play those paper pools. Those were the fun ones.
So no
You know,
prop bets for the Super Bowl.
I did put one prop bet out there. It's the most ridiculous prop bet. It's 1,000,000 to 1. I said I put $10 on. Hey, if aliens come and disrupt the Super Bowl and it ends in a tie, I will be $10 million richer because I put $10 on that.
What it would mean then if the aliens are fucking what is that? Where are you gonna go cash that out? The world's gonna be going crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I just want the money first. Give me the money first. Take the taxes out. I'll take ten
Society
million
can
dollars.
crumble. Where's my money?
Exactly. If we're getting invaded, I want to go out with a bang. It's going to be a big party.
Oh man! All right, Jamie. Well, how I typically end this is kind of throw the proverbial microphone over you. Anyone you want to show some love to? Let everyone know where they can find you on the multiple different things that you're always involved in. It doesn't matter if it's Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, but whatever has to do with Philly, this guy is typically there. I was doing what you did the polar plunge this weekend as well.
Oh, I
I
did.
mean, you're doing everything. So let everyone know where they can find some of the stuff you're getting involved with and what you do, my friend.
So I appreciate it that to find me, all you got to do is go to any social media, put in the Philly sports guy, and I'll definitely pop up. As Mike Missinelli had said at one point, just Google me and you can find me. I'm always doing different charity work and such, so you can always see me out and about. So I'll definitely be going to more hockey and basketball games from here on out. So if you see the Mohawk anywhere, just definitely come up and take a picture. I'll be more than happy to do so. I'll be down in spring training. We're definitely doing Flyers and Sixers games, Wings games, Union about to start up. So the Mohawk is going to be everywhere. Come find me and take a picture.
Definitely got to find Jamie. We definitely got to link up sometime this season. I gotta, I was already talking to Luther about it. We gotta tailgate it for a few times. Maybe we can get something together and catch up sometime this season, this coming
I'd love
season.
that. It'd be an awesome experience.
Definitely. All right, everyone. That's it for this one. He's Jamie, that Philly sports guy. Like he said, man, freaking Google him. It's real easy to find him. Everyone enjoy your Super Bowl. Be safe. Don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And you guys have a good one. We will see you guys on the rebound, my friends.